cool. So next thing I want to talk about is the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Um, I thought Zeus was gonna watch it, but it's a 4 hour long movie and it is a commitment. So
see, this is the thing though. I was gonna watch it in parts, like which I've heard a lot of people.
That's what I did.
That makes me wonder: is this a movie or is this a miniseries? Just because of like the length of it and how so many people have said they've cut it in. They've cut it in half.
That's a good question. It actually was supposed to come out in episodic format until about 6 months ago when they decided no, we're just going to release it as a 4 hour movie.
Yeah. So, but I know me. So what one of my routines is because as if you've been listening, even though this is episode 2.0, many of you probably know that my wife is a nurse. She works at nights, so I have the kids with me at night. So one of my routine now is, all right, they're ready to go to bed. I pop in a movie, and I'm like, I'm only gonna watch part of it. I'm gonna turn it off. I'll watch the rest of it the next night. Nope, I end up watching the whole thing, going to sleep like around 12:30, 1 o'clock when I have to wake up at 7. So, it's I know that if I do the Snyder Cut at 9 p.m., I won't end up, I'll finish it at 5 o'clock in the morning. So it's just one of those, because that movie is like 13 hours long. So I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to. And that's the reason why I'm so hesitant to watch it. And I've actually found out that I'm not the only one. I've heard there's some people that are just like this. This is one of the reasons I haven't watched The Irishman. The Irishman.
Oh yeah, same.
Even though I'm a huge Scorsese fan.
Martin Scorsese.
I'm a huge Scorsese fan. Yeah, I was about to say Quentin, but I'm a huge Scorsese fan. But I just haven't watched it because I'm like, this is a big ass commitment. So I haven't watched it, but
let's talk about
Zino has. So Zino, I want you spoiler-free review. I have a question that you can go ahead and answer it during your review or after your review, which is, do you think the Whedon cut has helped the Snyder cut? Because I think that's one thing that I'm hearing from a lot of people is like, oh, this is so much better. But I'm like, okay, maybe it's so much better, but is it actually good?
Is it a good movie? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Have you seen the Whedon version?
No, because I heard it was so bad. I didn't even bother with that one.
Well, then this is going to be a little tougher.
That's why I would not know if it's better than the Whedon cut. I'll only know if this is good, just because I'm only watching this.
Okay, so let me start off by saying that it is better than the Whedon cuts. That's a given. The thing is and for those who don't know the story, Zack Snyder directed Man of Steel, directed Batman v Superman, and he was going to direct this. He had actually started filming the movie. And then his daughter tragically passed away from suicide. And there's a moment in the movie where, I think Bruce is like driving, and then you see like a big billboard that they stay on for a bit. And it didn't click to me till like after the movie that's what I did. But there's a billboard about suicide prevention and call this number if you need help and all that stuff. So yeah, his daughter passed away. She took her life. So he and his wife left the movie, and they brought in Joss to finish it. And the brothers at Warner, they said that, look, man, Josh, you did such a good job with the Avengers. People love those movies. How about you Avengers this thing up? So what ended up happening is it became a very disjointed movie, right? Because if you've seen any of the DCU movies, with the exception of like Aquaman and maybe Wonder Woman to an extent, the other DCU. So actually, let me just say, if you've seen the Zack Snyder DC movies, it's all very dark and grim, right? So you have this dark and grim tone trying to merge with Joss Whedon style humor and all that stuff, and it just it didn't feel like the same movie at all. It felt very disjointed.
Not to mention you have to digitally remove a beard.
No, a mustache.
Oh, it's a mustache.
Because at the time Henry Cavill was filming Mission Impossible, not Ghost Protocol, the one that followed it. I forget what it's called, but
Rogue Nation?
No, maybe it is Ghost Protocol because I think that followed Rogue Nation.
Mission Impossible 32. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So in that movie, he has a mustache, but they brought him back for reshoots, right? Because now it's like a new movie. So it's like, well, I can't shave the mustache, so we're gonna just digitally put your lip there. So yeah, it ended up being like a pretty bad movie. I've rewatched it just because I'm a sadist, and it doesn't get better with second viewing. So, so, so what this movie did, what the Snyder Cut did, right from the get go, it makes you understand. Okay, there's this thing called the mother box or the mother boxes. There's three of them, and this guy, Steppenwolf, his job is to get the mother boxes and unite them for one purpose or another. And just in Joss Whedon's movie, is like just because. In this movie, it's to bring his master Darkseid over, right? Fans of DC Comics obviously know who Darkseid is. So that's that's your basic thing, right? Find the MacGuffin, put them together, bring Darkseid over, right? This movie explained why the mother boxes were activated in the first place, and it has to do with Superman dying at the end of Batman vs Superman. And so then Batman knows that there's an issue and is like, look, let me put together a team. It felt more organic, it felt more fluid, right? And there was some action set pieces that were so much better than in the first movie. And it's so weird, like they were there but expanded in this movie. It makes me think, why did Joss Whedon remove this? Was he just trying to kneecap the movie? Like, what's going on?
Right? He probably didn't have enough material so he had to keep some material. You can, if you know what it is. You know what this reminds me of? With Joss Whedon coming in. So a lot of you guys might not be sports fans who listen to our entertainment section, but it reminds me of the Falcons bringing in Sarkisian to come and take over the playbook for Kyle Shanahan, and you saw there was no flow. You saw that it did not click. People were on different pages. Same thing. You can't get somebody to do a movie when the other person has already shot it in their style.
Yes. And you know what? And I really want to try and do as much of this review without mentioning Joss Whedon's cut, but there's so much that's intertwined there that I have to mention. One of the big things is the characters of Cyborg and Flash, but Cyborg specifically. When I watched the original cut of Justice League, I remember thinking Cyborg has to be the single worst superhero character I've ever seen in a movie. Like, he was so bland. There was no motivation. He was just there. And then at the end of the movie, he says his famous phrase from the Teen Titan cartoon show, "Booyah," and that's supposed to the fans are supposed to be like, "Oh, he said the thing." But other than that, he had no character. In this movie, he is the heart of the Snyder Cut. The movie, without him, there is no movie. And I'm like, what happened? Like, how was he so different? Like, because we've heard that Ray Fisher and Joss Whedon had issues off camera. Maybe that was it. Maybe this was Joss Whedon being like, you know what, screw you. I'm gonna make sure that you're a hated character. Maybe that was it. But a lot of it just didn't make any sense. Flash is a lot more fleshed out. There's a cute scene with a girl that I believe is Iris West, but they never actually say her name because they actually don't say anything to each other. But he like saves her from a car crash. It's in the trailers. Steppenwolf feels a little more fleshed out, even though he's still kind of a bland CGI villain. So those are all the goods, right? Let me go to the bad. Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder cannot freaking help himself. This dude loves slow-mo more than any other director I've ever seen in my life. There was some ridiculous moments of slow-mo. I was like, why, Zach? Why are you doing this? I think they said 10% of the movie was in slow-mo.
Have you seen that owl movie that he had?
Watchmen?
No, Zack Snyder. He had a movie about owls. Legends of the Guardians, the Owls of Gahu.
Yeah.
This is a cartoon, and there's a scene that's so goofy. The owl is flying, and he does this. So if you can't, obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see me, but the owl does a slow motion like and stares at another owl.
That's funny. You know what?
And it's like, why are you doing this in an animated movie? It doesn't make any sense. And that's when I realized like slow motion is his biggest thing. And then when you put that on Facebook, I cracked up because I'm like, I've already known this, but I guess that's his thing.
He can't stop himself. There is a great scene in there. Since you haven't watched either version, then you wouldn't know this. But this was in both versions. But it's when, because the Flash is really fast, right? It's very hard for people to track him. But Superman can, right? Like it's a little harder, but like you can see Superman tracking him with his eyes, and then Flash is like, wait, he can see me. So but it almost looked like what you just did. So yes, so much slow-mo. The other thing I put on Facebook was that his use of music is a little obnoxious sometimes, right? Wonder Woman in this movie has this theme that sounds like people are going like like they're praying to something. It's fine to have characters have a theme, but not every single time they're on camera. It was literally every single time she'd come with a sort of and it'll be like in slow-mo. I'm like, oh my god, dude. Like,
so it's not like you know how in Avengers Infinity Wars they do it when they introduce the character for the first time, and you know how you hear Captain America's theme and then the Black Panther theme only when you're showing up in Wakanda, but it's not like during the whole battle of Wakanda that they have.
Not every time the camera pans to Captain America, you hear Captain America's theme again. No, this was obnoxious. It was a lot. So there was that. And then there's this goofy scene where what's his name? Aquaman is going into the water in like this like frozen place. I'm thinking Norway, and then you just have these ladies like chanting like and then one of them picks up the shirt that he left back, and she's like sniffing it, and then like looks away, and like the scene ends. I was like, what? Why was that thing? I mean, that I understand why Joss cut that out.
But maybe it was supposed to be a funny moment.
And I don't know. It didn't play like it was supposed to be comedic. But those are kind of nitpicky things. I do have one that I think is a pretty bad moment. A couple actually. And it's kind of spoilery, so I don't want to talk about it. But the epilogue, there's an epilogue after part 7 because it goes in parts. The epilogue is pretty bad. They should scrap the entire thing. I don't know why they did it. I think maybe this is Zack Snyder's way of like saying this is what a Snyderverse could be if you just let it happen. But I was like, no, this is crap.
Okay.
They shoehorned in.
Well, I mean, it's just it was a bad episode.
They shoehorned in the Joker, because you see him in the trailer, and his presence there doesn't make any sense. They shoehorned in another character that I can't say for spoiler reasons, but it's like just be like, hey, I'm here. You guys know me, right?
Yeah. So essentially, what you're saying is it's kind of one of those things where Zack Snyder's just giving a little bit of an FU to Warner Brothers and be like, look, I had to leave because my daughter died. I didn't leave because I wasn't going to finish the project.
Yeah.
But y'all shouldn't have basically destroyed it.
Yes.
The way y'all did.
Yeah.
One question that I have to ask you, because you mentioned Ray Fisher and Joss Whedon having their issues, right? Which that has led to Joss Whedon's very slow cancellation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because all his Buffy actresses have come out against him recently, and we're not gonna dive deep into that, right? But I want to know: do you think the Snyder Cut, put the final nail in Joss Whedon's cancellation coffin? Because I kind of feel like this is like the swan song to his cancellation, where it's like, look, now I've completely, because now they're thinking about what is it called, retconning, retconning, like
retconning,
retconning, and making this the official ones, and they can move forward. And basically, he's like, I've just removed this director completely from this universe.
Yeah. Warner Brothers seems intent on not following through with the Snyderverse, which is why there's like a Twitter thing going on saying restore the Snyderverse. Warner Brothers has straight up said that no, Robert Pattinson's going to be our only Batman. We're not bringing back Ben Affleck. Even though, I think that's another thing. Ben Affleck was amazing in this movie compared to the first cut of Justice League. And the first cut,
he wasn't trying to be funny.
He was actually pretty funny, actually. But in the first cut of Justice League, they made him look, I don't know, like a punching bag, or I don't. like a butt of a joke. And especially since Batman is one of the most beloved DC heroes, that's like a really crappy thing to do.
And Ben Affleck was actually very much liked as Batman. A
Yeah,
lot of people,
Batman
a
versus
lot of
Superman.
toxic nerds hate on it just because they have to hate on something.
Yeah.
But he was like, people loved him as I can't forget if it was Batman that they loved him as, or they thought he was the perfect Batman or the perfect Bruce Wayne, one of the two.
I think he was a very good Bruce Wayne.
That's what I think it was. It was like he was a really good Bruce Wayne that people loved. So I honestly feel like Joss Whedon came in, tried to do his thing, but also just also did things just to do things. That you know what I mean? Like that's what it sounds like. Even though I haven't seen it, that's what it sounds like.
I understand maybe wanting to have your identity on the page or on the screen. I don't know. Now that I'm like even reliving that past movie, I don't know. Some of it feels like sabotage. Now that I think about it, like there's some things. There's some things they did in that movie that like make no sense. And okay, but then they did screen tests and they put this movie out. Like they didn't tell them, hey, no, dude, like like fix this. No, they put it out. So it's also the fault of the executives. But yeah, is it the final nail in his coffin? I would say no, only because a lot of the ire about the Snyderverse is actually being directed at WB and not at Just. You would think people would be like, "Oh, Just, you screwed up our thing. This is what we could have had," but no, they're actually targeting Warner Brothers. So
I don't think Joss Whedon needs any assistance in being canceled.
He's gonna be canceled. You're gonna have someone come out from.
I think he already is.
Yeah, you're gonna have someone come out from Dollhouse to say something. Someone from Firefly, the Avengers. Also, Paul Bettany had a story about him really wanting Vision to be born with a penis, and then someone drew up the storyboard for him, and then Joss Whedon was like, okay, I can say with certainty now that I don't need to see Vision with a penis. So, but like he always had those like weird ideas. In the Whedon cut, there was a thing where the Flash face planted on Diana's boobs, and it was like a carbon copy of when Hulk Banner face planted on Black Widow's boobs in Age of Ultron. So it's like just reusing the same joke. So anyway, sorry. So let me not go too far into Whedon. I just want to say it's a better movie than Whedon's movie. I think the praise for it is being overblown severely. I think people are saying, "Oh, this is better than most MCU movies." I'm like, calm the heck down. Right? No, it's not. It's really not. There's a lot of dumb things in this movie. But yeah, you should watch it. Let me know how you.
I will watch it. Since you said it's in 7 parts, I will try to watch it in 1 week.
Okay. All right, cool. But I don't even think it works well as episodes because the first like 3 parts, stuff happens, but not anything that would make me feel like, okay, I'll come back for next week's episodes. So
well, I get that, but I want to be able to do other. I like to do chores here. And there. I want to be able to do stuff.
I like to live.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, so that's the discussion on Snyder Cut.